Okay, so this is question 9, which we got up to yesterday. Okay, so we'll continue from here. I don't think we'll finish all the questions, but we should be able to do most of them. Okay. So in this question, we've got 9 on 2, x squared. And of course, we don't want this number with x squared. We want to have 1. Okay, so let's write this down again. So you've got 9 on 2, x squared. Now I'll bring the 9x over because we're going to need that on this side. So minus 9x. And I'll leave the 18 on that side because that's what we normally do anyway. We have the x squared together with the x. So we bring it over to that side. Now, one thing you can do here, because you have a fraction and it's not like a half where we'd multiply by 2. So we'd multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so the reciprocal of 9 on 2 is 2 on 9. So a reciprocal is just when we flip over the fraction. That's it. Now, if we multiply everything by 2 on 9, we will be able to cancel the 9 on 2. So we'll do that. We'll go 2 on 9 here, 2 on 9 here, and 2 on 9 here. So multiply by that number now. And you can see 2 on 9 times 9 on 2 will be 1 because the 2 will cancel and the 9 will cancel. So we'll get x squared. Now this would be minus 2x because that 9 here will cancel with that 9 if I wrote it down here. And 9 into 18 is 2 and 2 2s are 4. Okay, so just cancel out your numbers as you need to here. Okay, so I'm going to let you finish this one. And this question 9, I'm going to put in the item pool now. So copy this down here. This is what you need to solve using the method from yesterday. So remember, we take the middle number, we halve that and square it, we'll get 1. So add this back to your equation here, both sides. And you finish this one, okay? So copy that down and then I'll share the item pool and then we can see what answers you get. So we've got to add a 1. So we would have x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 4 plus 1. Now, this will be a perfect square, yes. So we'll make a bracket where we've got x. We have a minus sign, we write minus here. The square root of 1 is 1, all squared. So remember the square root of this number, and square root 1 is 1. Okay, so then we get 4 plus 1, which is 5. And now at this point, we take the square root of both sides. And you need to remember to put in plus or minus here, because that actually has 2 values. That square root will cancel the square. So x minus 1 equals plus or minus root 5. Bring your 1 over. You'll get x equals 1 plus or minus root 5. So you'll get 1 plus root 5 and 1 minus root 5. And that would be 3.24 and minus 1.24. Okay, looks a bit harder, and I think it takes a little bit longer to do this one. So remember in this question, we've got a minus 3 x squared. So we want to get rid of the minus 3. So let's just divide everything by minus 3 first. There are other ways, but I'm choosing the simplest way for this time. So we cancel out the minus 3. You'll get x squared minus 8 on 3x plus, well, it's going to be minus 4 here, okay? So we'll bring the minus 4 over. And that would be 0, of course. So bring over the -4. So if you know what you're doing, you work ahead. Equals 4. And now we need to halve and square this number. So halve and square that number there. And that will give you the special number that needs to go back in here and here. So you do that, and I'll wait for your answer. Divide this by 2. So you'll end up with -8 on 2 3s are 6. Okay, so all I do here is I multiply these two numbers. It's the same. 2 3s are 6 will give you this number. You can check your calculator about that. And when you square, you'll get -8 squared. It's going to be 64. And 6 6s are 36. So this is the number you need to add back to your equation here. So x squared minus 8 on 3x plus 64 on 36 equals 4 plus 64 on 36. That can be simplified, but you don't need to. This here will be a complete square. So we're going to get x minus, because we have a minus sign, 64 on 36. The square root of that would be 8 on 6. And that can also be simplified if you want. And this is going to give you 52 on 9, this bit here. Okay, so then we'll square root both sides. And you'll get a plus or minus, don't forget that. So then we'll get x minus 8 on 6 equals plus or minus root 52 on square root 9 is 3, but I'll put that underneath like that. Okay, and 8 on 6 is 4 on 3. So we'll change that now. Equals plus or minus root 52 on 3. So this is the kind of working you'll need to show in your worksheet. So it's quite a bit I like to see, because I want to see you know what you're doing here. Your calculator can help here anyway. So x equals 4 on 3. So we move that across, plus or minus root 52 on 3. So you have a common denominator, don't you? So that's quite convenient. So 4 plus or minus root 52 on 3. So you're going to get then your 3.74 and your minus 1.07 as your final answer for that one. So let's look at question 11. What I recommend here, there's a couple of ways to do this, but I don't like to have a minus 7x squared. You see that's negative. So what I'll do, I'll just move everything to the other side. So I'll just stick them on the other side. So I'll get 7x squared plus 14x minus 35 equals 0. That just gets rid of the negative sign here. That's the only reason I did that. You don't have to do that. You can do it another way. But I just like to get rid of the negative first. Then you can divide everything by 7, because we don't want the 7 anymore. So do that. And I'll let you finish it in a minute. Cancel your 7. You're going to get x squared plus 2x minus 5 equals 0. So take your minus 5 over, then you finish it. So I'll leave that there for a second. So just copy that and then go from there. So we move the 5 across, okay? So x squared plus 2x equals 5. Move your minus 5 to the other side, you'll get 5. The middle number is 2, so halve and square that, you'll get 1. So add your number to both sides in here. So you'll end up with x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 5 plus 1. This is your complete square already. So you'll have x plus the square root of 1 is 1, squared equals 6. Then we square root both sides, plus or minus, and cancel the square here. So x plus 1 is plus or minus root 6. Therefore, x equals minus 1 plus or minus root 6. And then we'll get 1.45 and minus 3.45 from your calculator. Okay, that's good. So it looks like you're understanding, most of you. Okay, when you do your worksheet, you don't need to share material between students. You can double check your answers, or you can ask me to check your answer if you want. The main thing is that you work on your own work. Even if you make mistakes in the homework, you'll still get the credit anyway. As long as it's your own work, that's the main thing I want to see. So for question 12 here, everything looks okay. We got a 1 on this side, so that's in a good position. But you've got a minus 4x squared. Your textbook is missing the x. You see that x there? So you need to put x in here. If there's no x there, it's really easy. But there's actually meant to be an x here when I check the book answer key. So we've got minus 4x squared minus 14x equals 1. So now you've got a minus 4. So we're going to have to get rid of this minus 4 by dividing, aren't we? Minus 4, minus 4, minus 4. That's your step 1. Get rid of this number if it's not 1. Cancel, and then you can continue on that. So you'll have x squared plus 7 on 2 x, because minus 14 on minus 4 is 7 on 2. Check with your calculator there. Equals minus a quarter. All right, a bit harder this one, so you work on that. So our middle number is 7 on 2. So we halve and square that. You'll get 7 on 4 squared, which is 49 on 16. So if you're getting that number incorrect, I think you're not going to get the right answer, are you? So that's the first thing you need to do. So just be aware of how to do this. And then you'll get this number here. So this number goes back into our equation. So x squared plus 7 on 2x plus 49 on 16 equals 49 on 16 minus a quarter. Okay, I just put that number into the front here. There. So this will be a complete square. We will have x plus the square root of 49 on 16 is 7 on 4. All squared. So this is going to be 45 on 16 by your calculator or by hand, up to you. So now we will square root both sides. And then we'll get plus or minus here again. So we will cancel our square. So x plus 7 on 4 equals plus or minus root 45 on root 16, which is 4. Okay. So x will equal minus 7 on 4. So remember, when you move this number, the sign will change. Plus or minus root 45 on 4. Now, root 45 can be simplified a little bit if you want to show more working, because root 45 can be written as root 9 times 5, which is root 9 times root 5, which is 3 root 5. So you can do that if you want here. So we'll write that. Minus 7 on 4 plus or minus 3 root 5 on 4. It just means that this third here, what we call a third, has been simplified. That's all it's done. So then you'll get minus 7 on 4, actually. And then we have a common denominator here. So 3 plus or minus 3 root 5. So you see we have a common denominator. So I make it into one fraction. So then you'll get your minus 0.07 and minus 3.43 here. Okay, for that one. I think we're going to run out of time because there's only 4 minutes left. So if you made a mistake, you probably want to copy this down. A lot of this can be done with your calculator. Okay, so even from this step here. So if you do this in your test on the worksheet, then you can just jump down to the answer here. As long as I see what you're doing in these steps in here when you do your worksheet.